Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. After examining the two concepts of ṣadr and qalb in the Quran, two inner layers of the human being, I now wanted to explore a deeper inner layer, the fu'ad. What is the relationship between this concept and the previous two? How is it connected to the faculties of hearing and sight? What does it mean for the fire of God, Narullah, to rise upon the fu'ad? In what sense does God empty the fu'ad of someone like the mother of Moses? How does God stabilize the prophet's fu'ad through the gradual revelation of the Quran and through the stories of the prophets? And finally, why is it that what is seen by the fu'ad cannot be false? I'm Hassan Muradi, and in this video from the channel Echoes from the Quran, I want to answer these questions. If I were to give a brief answer, I would say the levels of ṣadr and qalb are for understanding and feeling the manifestations of God, but the level of fu'ad is for witnessing God Himself. For this reason, in the Quran, it is mentioned after hearing and sight. God burns the human self and the level of the fu'ad with His own fire. By connecting a person's heart to Himself, God can empty that person's fu'ad of anxiety. Stabilizing the fu'ad means the ending of the heart's anxiety. At this station, all perceptions of the fu'ad are true. In the rest of the video, I will examine each question separately. When a human being is born, he knows nothing, but God has placed within him cognitive faculties so that he may give thanks. These faculties are hearing, sight, and fu'ad. Nahl 78. Yet only a few are grateful. This scarcity of gratitude is because not seeing the self, the annihilation of the ego, is extremely difficult. Few people reach the awareness that these faculties are manifestations of the divine names, as-Sami, al-Basir, and al-Haq. In reality, it is through these names that they hear, see, and witness the truth. After God breathes His spirit into the human body, He grants these faculties. As-Sajda 9. Thus, the receiver of these faculties is the spirit. It is the divine spirit within the human being that can become the locus of the names as-Sami, al-Basir, and al-Haq. However, merely possessing these faculties does not suffice. The essential matter is understanding that the world and the human being are signs of God. If someone fails to understand that he himself and all beings are signs of God, he will not benefit from these faculties. Al-Ahqaf 26. How do hearing, sight, and fu'ad correspond to ṣadr, qalb, and fu'ad? If we consider the human interior as three levels, hearing corresponds to ṣadr because both are the first to operate in perception. The first functioning sense in the fetus is hearing. Sight corresponds to qalb because both perceive forms and signs. Sight perceives outward signs, the heart perceives inward signs. In general, ṣadr and qalb perceive the manifestations of God while the fu'ad perceives God Himself. A person must first have knowledge in order to act. If he acts without knowledge and follows what he does not know, he will be questioned through his hearing, sight, and fu'ad as to why he did not attain knowledge. Al-Isra 36. This does not mean the faculties themselves are questioned, but rather the human being who possesses them. The verse warns against imitation. When a person can use his own hearing, sight, and fu'ad to reach knowledge, he should not abandon them and blindly follows others. Unfortunately, most people rely on hearsay and popular opinion instead of their own cognitive faculties. The word fu'ad comes from the root fa'ada, meaning to roast in fire. Al-lahmul maf'ud means roasted meat. In the Quran, there are two kinds of fire: the fire of hell, the fire of God, narullah. The fire of hell is a manifestation of the fire of God, just as the light of paradise is a manifestation of the light of God. The fire of hell purifies the levels of sight and hearing from impurities. The fire of God purifies the level of the fu'ad. A person who sees himself and his own perfections instead of seeing God and his perfections becomes fault-finding, lumazah, and backbiting, humazah. Such a person hoards wealth and relies on it, thinking it will make him eternal, but he will surely be thrown into a crushing fire, hutamah. This fire is difficult to understand because it is not like the fire of hell, which burns the subtle body. Rather, it is the fire that burns the illusion of self at its very center, the fu'ad. The fire of God kindled narullah al-muqadah, which rises upon the fu'ad, allati tattali'u ala al-af'idah, al-humadah 7. Since God encompasses all things, he also encompasses the human being and his deeds. Thus, on the day of resurrection, the fire of God, which is his own manifestation, will completely surround the human being, mu'sadah, al-balad 20, and will have towering columns, amadun mumattadah, al-humazah 8 and 9. God emptied the fu'ad of the mother of the Moses of everything other than himself so that she might find peace. God strengthened her heart by connecting it to himself, rabatna ala qalbha, so that she would be among the believers. Had he not done so, she might have revealed her identity as Moses' mother, endangering his life. The fu'ad of the mother of Moses became empty, Al-Qasas 10. The verse first states that her fu'ad became empty, then explains why. God connected her heart to himself. This connection elevates a person from the unstable level of the heart to the stable level of the fu'ad. The same expression is used for the companions of the cave, Al-Kahf 14. Thus, connecting the heart to God brings tranquility and prepares the human being to transcend even the manifestations of God and reach pure divine unity. From the Quranic perspective, the fu'ad is higher than the heart because the heart is the locus of changing manifestations, while the fu'ad is the locus of God's presence, stable and unchanging. For this reason, the Quran says that by narrating the stories of the prophets, each manifestation of a divine name, God stabilizes the prophet's fu'ad. For this reason, the Quran says that by narrating the stories of the prophets, each manifestation of a divine name, God stabilizes the prophet's fu'ad. Hud 120. Stabilizing the fu'ad does not come merely from reading stories. A person must witness all divine manifestations across all stations of unity. Each prophet represents a divine name and a station of realization. To receive their stories is to inherit their stations. Thus, after the manifestations of God descend upon the heart, the presence of God himself descends upon the fu'ad. If the instances of a scientific truth are given to a person gradually and in an orderly manner, he eventually acquires a stable mastery of that truth. For example, someone exposed gradually and consistently to a language eventually acquires mastery and can produce new expressions. The same is true of the Quran. The Quran is the knowledge and speech of God. The Prophet had to receive it gradually and in an ordered manner, tartil, so that he could reach its reality beyond words and forms. For this reason, the Quran descends upon the heart, not the fu'ad. This descent elevates the Prophet from the level of the heart to the level of the fu'ad. Furqan 32. The gradual descent of the Quran, being the descent of the name Rabb, stabilized the fu'ad. Stability means the absence of inner conflict. When the heart becomes the abode of peace, Darus Salam, anxiety disappears. At this level, the perceptions of the fu'ad are true because God sees through the human being. And no sensory or imaginative interference remains. The fu'ad did not deny what it saw. An-Najm 11. This level receives a form of revelation that has no shape or form. For this reason, the Quran expresses it ambiguously. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. An-Najm 11. He revealed to his servants what he revealed. This type of revelation is like a scientific mastery. It has no form, yet countless forms emerge from it. The fu'ad lies above the realm of changing manifestations perceived by the heart. In a beautiful metaphor, these diverse manifestations are likened to the lot tree, ṣadr, which has many leaves. At the end of this tree, where the branches end, the fu'ad is located. This is where the essential manifestation begins. Since the divine essence encompasses all divine names, the essential manifestation covers the manifestations of the names. Because the essential manifestation cannot be described, the Quran expresses the covering of the lot tree in ambiguous terms. إِذْ يَغْشَى السِّدْرَةَ مَا يَغْشَى. An-Najm 16. This level of the human and cosmic interior is the garden of refuge. عندها جنة المأوى. An-Najm 15. Here the human being is freed from the duality of creator and creations and reaches his true home. Oh God, connect our heart to yourself so that we may be freed from anxiety and enter the garden of tranquility. Thank you for being here.